Okay then James, we've got a reel set up already with the line. However, I personally do not know how to spool a reel with line. Can you show me please?
Yep, no worries Andy. First thing to look at is the capacity that you've got on your reel. As you can see on this spool here, the capacity clearly says 170 metres of 0.25mm line or 8 pound equivalent. Okay, so that gives you a gauge as to how much line the spool will take. Now, we're going to spool up with 4 pound Trilene XL. And the way that I like to do it is I like to actually mount the reel on the rod and use the first guide to help me load the line onto the reel. If you try doing it without the rod, you find you get in all sorts of trouble with the reel moving and you get tangles and it causes big issues. The way I like to do it is very simple. I'll take the end of the line and I'll just make a simple loop. Okay, there's your loop. I then get the line, put it back through the loop to create a lasso. Okay, I'll open the bail arm and I'll put the line over the top of the spool. And you'll notice that that will tighten itself. If I did it the right way around, I just need to change it round the other way, against the spool. Okay, another thing to mention is that you put the knot at the bottom of the spool.
Okay.
That's important because it keeps it away from catching on the line. Okay, so there we go. Let's spool it up. Before I spool it up, if you have the potential to do it, it's always a good idea to place the spool of line in a bucket of water. Couple of advantages. It reduces the friction on the line as you're reeling it in, and it also seems to improve the line lay that you get on the reel. Another important thing to think about is you see a lot of people reeling the line off in this manner, sticking a pencil through the spool. If you've got a spool like this that has got smooth edges, you can actually help to reduce line twist by removing the line off the spool in the same way that it's wound onto the reel. It sounds complicated, but when you've done it a few times, you'll see the advantage. It just helps to reduce the line twist. So I'll place the spool in the bucket of water and then wind nice and carefully onto the reel. Now to start with, the first few revolutions I'll do very, very slowly to ensure that there's no loops of line or any problems with the line snagging on the reel.
Okay.
And once it's on, then you can really start to speed up the process. Now you'll notice, Andy, that I'm actually holding the line to create some tension whilst winding the line onto the spool. If I just simply wind it off the spool, the line will bunch up and bed in. So it's important to wind the line under some tension. Now, if you started to get too much friction on your hands, you could use a wet cloth between your hands and the line to stop from burning yourself. But as I'm doing this in this bucket, the line's coming off very nicely and I'm managing to load the reel very, very efficiently.
Would you generally fill the whole spool with line?
Well, that's an absolutely fundamental question and something that beginners often get wrong. When I finish doing this, I'll show you the difference, but you need to have the line loaded to the optimum. You don't want too much line so that it falls off the spool and causes tangles, and not enough so it reduces the effectiveness of the reel during casting. Anyway, I'll quickly load this line on. Right then, Andy, that looks about spot on. So I've loaded the spool to about the optimum level. So I'll cut the line and you'll notice that we've not underfilled the spool, as in the case of this reel here, which is going to seriously hamper your casting and the effectiveness of the reel. And I haven't overfilled it. You can see that there's still a few millimeters left there of lip on the spool. So it's quite critical to make sure that you load the reel up with the correct quantity of line.
Brilliant. Thanks, James. I'm hooked on fishing.